Chapter 15. The Saucepan Man Goes to the Wrong Land. Mother and the children stared at the strange old saucepan man as he came in at the gate. He wore an extra large-sized saucepan for a hat, and as he came, he knocked two pans together and sang an odd nonsense song that went like this. 2 beans for a pudding, 2 cherries for a pie, 2 legs for a table with a hi-diddle-hi. The last hi, he banged on the door with the saucepan. Mother opened it. "Don't make such a noise," she said. "No, I haven't seen any boys," said the saucepan man, and he clashed his pans together so loudly that Mother jumped. Then he caught sight of the children and waved to them eagerly. "Oh, there you are! Moonface told me where you lived." "Whoever is he?" said Mother in wonder. "Children, is this strange old man all right?" "Oh, yes," said Joe, hoping his mother wouldn't ask them too many questions. "Can we take him into the garden, Mother? He makes such a noise indoors." "Very well," said Mother, who wanted to get on with her washing. "Take him along." "A song?" said the saucepan man obligingly. "Did you say you wanted a song, madam?" He began to sing again and crashed his pans in time to his song. 2 pigs for the pigsty, 2 shoes for the horse, 2 hats for the pit tigers, pink ones of course. The children bustled him out into the back garden. "That is a very silly song of yours," said Beth, loudly, right in his ear. "What is it called?" "It hasn't got a name," said the saucepan man. "I make it up as I go along. It's quite easy. Every line but the last one begins with the word 2. I'm sorry you think it's silly." He looked rather offended. And then suddenly he smiled again and said, "I've come to ask you all to tea in my cottage." "Will Mr. What's-his-name be there?" said Joe, who wasn't at all keen to meet him again. "Yes, you must brush your hair," said the saucepan man, looking at Joe's untidy hair. "I said, will Mr. What's-his-name be there?" said Joe loudly. "Something in the air?" said the saucepan man, and he looked up anxiously. "Not a thunderstorm, I hope," said Joe. "Certainly not a thunderstorm," said Joe, with a groan. "Yes, we'll come. We must ask Mother first." Mother said they could go, though she still thought that old saucepan man was very loud and annoying. "Good day," she said to him as he and the children went off. He really was a most peculiar sight, but he had such a twinkly sort of face that the 3 children couldn't help liking him and trusting him. They soon came to the faraway tree and saw that Moonface had thought of a marvellous idea. He had borrowed Dame Washalot's biggest washing basket and let it down on a rope. Then as soon as they were all safely in it, he and Silky meant to haul them up to save them the long, long climb. "That is really a good idea," said Joe, delighted, and they all climbed in. It was a bit difficult to get the saucepan man in too, but they managed at last, though he seemed to find it most uncomfortable to sit on his saucepans. "Up we go!" shouted Joe, as the basket swung upwards through the branches. It ran very smoothly, and the children enjoyed the strange ride. At last they came to a big branch and stepped out on it. It was quite near Moonface's house at the top. Moonface was there, winding up the rope, a grin on his big shining face. "How did you like that?" he asked. The saucepan man looked around him anxiously. "A cat?" he said. "Another cat? Dear me, I hope it won't escape into my land. I've got my mice there." "Now he'll go looking again for cats," said Beth, and sure enough, the saucepan man began to peer here and there, calling, "Puss, puss, puss, puss." "Never mind him," said Moonface. "Go on up the ladder. He wants you to go to tea with him in his funny saucepan-y house." "Come on, saucepan man," called Joe. "If you want us to come to tea, we'd better go." The saucepan man heard. He stopped looking for cats and ran up the ladder. With a bound he was through the hole in the cloud and right above. No sooner had he gone out of sight than he began to yell, "Oh! Oh! Oh! Ow!" The children listened in alarm. Whatever is the matter with him?" said Joe. "Crash, bang, clang, smash! He sounds as if he's rolling about on all his kettles and saucepans," said Beth. "What can he be doing?" "Ow!" shouted the saucepan man above them. "Stop it! Ow! Stop it!" "Somebody must be attacking him," cried Joe, and he leapt up the ladder. "Come on, everyone! We'll soon send any enemies off." He shot up the ladder, followed by Beth, Franny and Moonface. They all clambered through the hole in the clouds and stood in the land above. But oh, my goodness me, it was no longer the land of the saucepan man, that tiny little cloud-edged country. It was another land altogether. "My land is gone!" shrieked the saucepan man. "I didn't know it had. This is somewhere else. Oh!" No wonder he said, "Ooh." The bit of flat field he was standing on suddenly gave a little shiver like a jelly, and then just as suddenly tipped itself up so it made a hill. Saucepan rolled down it at top speed, all his pans clattering like cymbals. "This is rocking land," said Moonface in dismay. "Quick, come back to the ladder and get down the hole before we have forgotten where it is. Hey, Saucepan! Saucepan man, come over here to us." "Bus, did you say?" shouted the saucepan man, picking himself up and looking round. "I can't see a bus, but I'd like to catch one." "Come here to us! To us! To us!" shouted Joe in despair. "The hole through the clouds is here. We must get back again quickly." The saucepan man began to run downhill to them, but the ground all around suddenly tipped backwards, and he and the children and Moonface found themselves running downhill away from the hole in the clouds where the precious ladder was. They tried to stop. They tried to walk back up the sudden hill, but the land tipped up all the more, and in the end they just couldn't stand up and had to lie down. Then they began to roll downhill. How they rolled, over and over and over and over, with the saucepan man making a dreadful clatter with all his pans. "Oh! Ow! Oh!" cried everyone. "We've lost the hole!" shouted Joe. But before he could say any more, he bumped into a bush that knocked all the breath out of him. Soon everyone lay in a heap at the bottom of the hill and tried to get back their breath. "Now we're in a fix," said Beth, dusting herself. "What a very tiresome land to have got into. Does it do this sort of thing all the time, Moonface?" "Oh yes," said Moonface. "It never stops. It heaves up here, sinks down there, rocks to and fro and gives sudden jumps. People do say there's a giant just underneath, trying to throw the land off its back." So will they ever escape? We shall find out in Chapter 6 what happened in the Rocking Land.